Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Learn Haitian Creole. In today's video, we'll be discussing mental health. Okay. This video was actually requested by one of our subscribers. So I'm actually really happy that this person requested the video because it's one of those topics that no one wants to talk about, right? Because there's such an embarrassment attached to it. So I'm really happy to record this video today. Allô tout le monde, bienvenue encore dans Apprendre Creole Haïtien. Vidéo aujourd'hui on a couvri santé mentale, OK? Nous connaissons c'est un sujet que nous en pile monde pas veut parler de lui, OK? Parce que you want. OK? Alors bien content que on monde te demandé et vidéo ça, OK? On nous commencer. Merci. So before we get started, I wanted to let everybody know, for those of you who are interested, there's actually a book coming out in early 2022 titled Out of the Darkness, okay? And it touches very heavily on Haitian culture, depression, mental health, suicidal thoughts, that sort of thing. So if you guys follow me, I'll keep you guys posted, okay? Pour tout le monde qui est intéressé, gen yon livre kap sorti en janvier 2022. Titre li c'est sorti nan noisseur, ok? Li touche en pile sous culture haïtienne, dépression avec moun qui envie tuer tête yo. Ok? Suive moi et puis map informer nous. Ok? Les dates l'après. So today we'll be talking about depression, which is depression in Creole, okay? Today we'll be talking about depression, okay? Jeudi on a parlé de dépression. Dépression en anglais, c'est depression. Okay, so let's go over some important information, okay? If you are suicidal or you're thinking of hurting yourself, you can contact the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, okay? It is suicidepreventionlifeline.org. SUICIDEPREVENTIONLIFE.org. Okay? And if you are in a violent relationship, domestic violent relationship, you can contact their hotline at www.thehotline.org. Thehotline.org. Okay. Ok, kounya nam juste fè lan kreol. Ok? Si gen moun la kap gade video sa, ki santi yo ta vle fè tèt yo mal, yo pa santi yo bien, ok? Yo ta vle suicide, ok? Ale sou site sa pou nou ka jwen ed. SUICIDEPREVENTIONLIFE.org, ok? Et si gen moun la ki nan relasyon kote on lot moun ap abuse yo, yo bezwen soti la dan, yo bezwen aide, vi yo an danger, ale na www.thehotline.org. Okay, merci. Okay, so instead of going to the website, if you wanted to call instead, so if you wanted to call the suicide hotline, you can call them at 1-800-273-8255, okay? 1-800-273-8255, okay? Si nou soti nou gen depresyon, nou ta vle fè tèt nou mal, okay? Gen kote nou ka jwen ed. Relé, numéro sa, na 1-800-273-8255, ok? 1-800-273-8255. So for those people who are hearing impaired, you can reach the suicide hotline at 1-800-799-4889, okay? 1-800-799-4889. Si gen yon moun ki soud, ok, ki bezen rele ligne pour dépression, hein, tant que moun nan ta vle fè tèt li mal, la prele yon nan 1-800-799-4889, ok? Et après le yon nan 1-800-799-4889, ok? Merci. Et si yon moun la kapta de sa, nan relasyon kote on lot moun pa bizel, ok, li karele numéro sa pour aide. Li karele 1-800-799-7233. Ok? Li karele 1-800-799-7233 ou bien li ka voye yon message nan téléphone. Li ka voye message nan 88788. Okay? 88788. Okay? So if someone is in a domestic violence relationship, you fear for your life, you can get help from the domestic violence hotline. Okay? You can call 1-800-799-7233. 800-799-7233, or you can send a text message to 88788. Okay, so this is our last one. This is domestic violence for the hearing impaired. Okay, the number to get help is 800-787-3224. 800-787-3224, or you can text 88788. Okay? Si gen moun na ki na violence na kay kote moun ap maltrete yo, yo bezwen aide. Yo ka, men sa se pou moun ki soud. Ok? Sa se ligne pou moun ki soud la. Se 1-800-787-3224. Ok? 1-800-787-3224, ou bien yo ka voyon message nan 887-88 na téléphone na. Okay? So this one's really important because depends on the person's education in Haiti. They refer to people with mental health issues as crazy. So I think it's important for you to let people know that no, you are not crazy. You are not crazy. Ou pa fou. Ou pa fou. Dans culture nou, culture haïtienne, depuis yon moun gen problème mental, nou di moun nan fou, mais moun nan pa fou vre. OK? M'pense li important pour nous faire moun nan konnen que li pa fou. Ou pa fou, you are not crazy. You are not crazy. Ou pa fou. So for anxiety, we say inquiétude, okay? The person is worried. I find that in Creole, the word inquiétude is more positive than anxiety is in English. I find anxiety to be more negative in English than inquiétude is in Creole, right? Because someone can easily say, like, they have inquiétude and it's something very minor. Nothing major, nothing to do with mental, right? Just maybe you're going to take an exam and you're worried you're going to fail. And then we would use inquiétude and it's nothing bad, nothing negative. Okay? Pour inquiétude, nous dit anxiety. Takou peur, okay? Another word is la perez. It's a fear. Takou peur en bagay. So for anxious, we say inquiété. It's like you can't wait, right? Upakatan on bagay. Upakatan pou konnen. You can't wait to know. You're very anxious. Another thing we say Keousho. This would generally translate to your heart is hot, right? It's just a metaphor for anxious. It means you can't wait. You're in a hurry. Okay, so le ke an moun chaud, en Creole nou di ke moun nan chaud, moun nan pa ka tan, moun nan inquiété, takou gen wagon information li bezen konnen kounye. En anglais, nou di anxious. Moun nan anxious, li bezen konnen kounye, li inquiété. So for restless, we say agité. Okay, agité is like saying, it literally means agitated. So it's like in Creole, we would say, moun na pa kon kote pou l'met kol. Okay? Like you don't know where to put your body, pretty much. Ou pa kon kote pou met kol. You're restless. You're agitated. You can't stay still. You can't stay in one place. Okay? So for restless, we say agité. So for tormented, we say tumate. It's a straight translation. Tormented is tumate. En créole, là nous disons moun tumate, moun nan gen problem, li pa kon sa pou l fè a tèt li. Okay? When you're tormented, you have problems, you have issues. You don't know what to do with yourself. Okay? Tormented, tumate. Another way to say someone is tormented is to say bouleversé. Bouleversé is like, it's like everything in your body is like moving. It's troubled. Every part of your body is troubled. It's just moving. It's shaking. It's like you're moving things out of place, if you want to think of it like that, right? So another way to say tormented is bouleversé. Okay, le on moun bouleversé, moun n'a pas sentil bien, pas vrai? En anglais nous dit moun n'a tormented. Okay, même genre avec tourmenté nous dit tormented. So this one can be a little tricky. This one is nervous. Okay, so for nervous, we can say the person is scared, right? If you're nervous, then you're afraid of something. Okay, so we can say pe. Pe is to be scared. Okay. We can also say the person is sune. Okay, it's like your nerves are up. Okay, but we can also say nerveux, right? I've heard people say nerveux, and you have to be really careful if you use the word nerveux, because if you use nerveux instead of it means something totally different. It means angry. Nerveux means angry. Whereas if you say nerveux and you close your mouth for the E, then it's like someone's nervous, right? So for me, I'd rather just use the word pe instead of trying to say nerveux or sune, okay? Si yon moun sentil pe ou bien nerli wo, ou bien moun nan nerveux, pas nerveux, nerveux, nous dit moun nan nervous. So for worried, we say inquiété, inquiété. We've used that word before. It means someone feels troubled or anxious, right? We can still use inquiété for worry. We can use embêté. It's like you're bothered, right? You feel bothered. If you feel bothered, then you worry, right? And we can say you feel emmêlé. Now, emmêlé is used a lot to say you're bothering someone, right? Like pa medim, don't bother me. But if you're worried, then you can also say you feel emmêlé, right? M'sentim emmêlé. M'sentim embêté, m'sentim inquiété, okay? So si nous senti nous inquiété ou bien nous embêté ou bien nous senti nous emmêlé, nous ka di worry, okay? Worry, c'est inquiété, embêté ou bien emmêlé. So for trouble falling asleep, there's not one specific way to say it, right? You're lying down in bed and you can't fall asleep. In Creole, you can say pakadomi. It pretty much means you can't sleep, right? But if you want to get a little deeper than that and to show that you're not falling asleep, then you can say dormi pakapram. The sleep is not taking me. That's what it really means. If the sleep is not taking me, then I'm awake, right? So for trouble falling asleep, it's either pakadomi, can't sleep, or dormi pakapran. Okay, si dormi pakapran nou gen problem pou dormi, nou ka di trouble falling asleep. So for trouble staying asleep, you can say pakadomi, right? Can't sleep. You're waking up every 10 minutes, you can't sleep. But you can also say, like if I keep waking up in the middle of the night, I can say, ma pe de leve nan dormi, ma pe de leve nan dormi. I keep waking up from my sleep. I was sleeping, I did fall asleep, but I keep waking up from that sleep, okay? So you can ask somebody, est-ce que wap pe de leve nan dormi, nan nuit? Okay, nan nuit, it just makes it look like it happens at nighttime. Ma pe de leve nan dormi, nan nuit. So I'm not staying asleep. I keep waking up. So to be afraid is pe. Pe. Pe also means priest, okay? Like a priest in a church. So le nou pe, okay? En anglais, nous dit afraid ou bien nous dit scared, okay? So afraid, c'est paix. So for restful sleep, it's like you rested, you slept well. Pretty much we just say dormi bien. Okay, so dormi bien means you slept well. Okay, you want to go a little bit deeper, you can say dormi netali. Netali means it's like you just kept going, going, and going. You didn't stop. It's like I slept all the way through the night. Okay? Si nou te dormi bien, parce gen de fwa nou gen do pa ka dormi, nou te dormi bien. Okay? Nou ka di nou te, ou ka di I slept well. Ou ka di I slept well pou dormi bien, but ou ka di I had a restful sleep. I had a restful night. Okay? Dormi bien. So for suicide, we say suicide. Suicide. That's actually a word. I just learned it actually. I knew the word in French and in English, but not Creole. So another way you can say suicide is to say envie mourir. Envie mourir is like you feel like dying, you feel like you want to die, or envie tier tête. Tête in this case means self, not head. Envie tier tête is like and you want to kill yourself. Okay, so for suicide, we say suicide. Okay, si on mon envie tier tête li, nous dit suicide en anglais. If someone committed suicide, it means they're dead, right? But they took their own life. So in this case, we say suicide, suicide. Or you can just say tietet, munna tietetli, right? So if someone hung themselves or whatever, you just say, oh yeah, so and so died. So in Creole, we would say entel entel. Entel entel is like so and so, but it's a person. Entel entel mouri li tietetli, right? We would say li tietetli. I don't know anyone who would say li suicide. Maybe like more educated people, fancy, I don't know. But most people I know will, well, everybody I know will say li tietetli. Okay, le on tietetli. Nou di moun na committed suicide. Committed suicide, ça veut dire li fait action suicide la. Li fait et puis li un succès. Okay, so for suicidal thought is the person's literally thinking about committing suicide, right? So we would say ide. Ide is the idea, is to think of something. Okay, when you think of something, you have the idea in your head. Ide suicide. Ide suicide. For me, I would just ask the person, are you thinking about killing yourself? Because I don't know if the person's going to understand the word suicide. Okay. Envie tiye tête. Moun na pense li vle touye tête li. Li gen ide an a tête li. Okay, nou di suicidal thought. Suicidal thought, moun na ap pense pou tiye tête li. La pensée pour le pran vil. Okay, we also say the person thinks about taking their life. Pran vi. It's like you take your life. So for coping strategies, right? They're just ways that you manage stuff. You manage your feelings, things like that. So it's how you cope, right? It's how you cope with things. I don't know if there's a specific way to say it in Creole, right? Because we don't have a million words in Creole. So some of the things you can ask the person is, ki jan gérer ça? Gérer is to manage, right? When we say gérer, we mean manage. Like, how do you manage, right? That's a good question. Ki jan gérer ça? Ça means that, or this or that, right? Ki sa ou kon fè? Ki sa ou kon fè? What do you do? What do you do when you feel like that, right? So that's another way to ask about coping strategies. And then you can ask, well, ki sa ou fè le kon sa? Ki sa ou fè le, like, what do you do when that happens or when this happens? What do you do? I think those are all good questions to ask around coping strategies, right? So, en anglais, yo di coping strategy. Coping strategy, c'est ki sa ou fè, ki jan jere yon bagay, pa vre? So, en Creole, ou ka mande moun nan, ki jan jere sa, ki jan jere tel bagay, ki sa kon fè lò santou kon sa, et qui sont fait les comme ça, l'ensemble tout comme ça, qui sont qu'on fait les comme ça, ou ka mande toute question ça yo, okay? So for support system, right? Support system is when you have support, you have people supporting you. So in Creole, you would say, it's moun ki sipote ou, moun ki sipote ou. Un groupe moun ki sipote ou, le ou gon groupe moun ki sipote ou, c'est un support system. Ou gon system kap supporte ou. System nan se moun yo sipote ou. Okay, so for support system, we say moun ki sipote ou, moun ki sipote ou. So when we say someone is burnout, right? You're burned out. You burn out because you're doing too much. You're doing so many things that you're so tired. You're so exhausted. You can't go on anymore. You're just really tired. You've done too much, right? So in Creole, you can say fatigué. Fatigué is to be tired. Bouquet. Bouquet also means tired, but bouquet is like, it's like I walked a mile and then I'm so tired I can't walk anymore. But you can also be mentally tired and still use bouquet. Bouquet, it's like my brain is tired, right? And you can say about. It looks like an English word, right? About? No, it means about. About means you're at the end of whatever you've been going through. You're at the end of it and you can no longer take any more. Okay? So, le nou senti nou about ou bien nou bouquet, nou fatigué, nou ka di burnout. Men li plus yon bagay mental ke l fizik. Ok? Nou ka itilize tout les trois mots sa yo en créole pour burnout. So for overwhelm, it's like you're overwhelmed. You're doing so many things. You're doing so much. So many things get thrown at you. And you're just overwhelmed with all of it. You can't do it anymore, right? So in Creole, you can use bombarding. Bombarding, I don't know if this was taken from the word bomb, but that's the word they use when in Creole, that's the word we use when they say you bomb somewhere, right? So maybe it is taken from that word. But bombarded is like so many things get thrown at you at the same time and everyone's talking in your head at the same time and you can say you bombardé avec bruit, right? It's like they bombarded me with noise. And you can say envahi. Envahi is like, let's say 20 cops show up at your house in your living room. You're surrounded by them. You can say envahi, la police envahim, right? La police envahim. The cops overwhelm me. You envahi. But in Creole, the word envahi is like literally in physical form. They're there. So conflict is a little different. So conflict is like, if you have a child and you keep making your child do a lot of labor, or you keep beating them and they look shorter than their actual age, and people will say, oh, this child is conflict, right? Because you've done too much to them. They're overwhelmed. But I think in our case, it's all mental, okay? So pour conflict, ou bien bombarder, ou bien envahir, le on moun get trop bagay ka prive la fois. En anglais, nou ka juste di moun na overwhelm, okay? Li overwhelm. So for exhausted, exhausted is when someone is very tired, mentally or physically exhausted, right? Beyond tired. Or you can say épuisé. Épuisé is when you use something too much. You overuse it. You use it so much that it's almost not useful anymore. So you can use épuisé, which is when you overuse something. You can say about. About is like you're holding on to the last thread. You're like right toward the end and you really cannot hold on anymore. You cannot take on anymore. Or you can say fatigué. Fatigué is tired. And you can say bouquet. Bouquet, we discussed bouquet before. It's when someone is tired. You're walking and you had to do 2 miles and you did a mile and a half and you can't finish the other half because you're tired. Okay? So for frustrated, we say frustré. Frustré. It's almost the same word, different spelling, different pronunciation, but anyway, it's just one word. Frustré. Moi frustré avec. I am frustrated with you. Okay? Si nous sommes nous frustrés à un monde, nous juste dis frustrated. Okay? Frustrated, frustré. Okay, for helpless, it's like you can't help yourself, right? So for helpless, it's like we say the person can't do anything, right? They can't do anything to help themselves. Okay? Moun nan pa ka fè rien. Li pa ka fè rien. Can't do anything, right? Si yon moun senti li pa ka fè rien pou l'aider situation ou bien pou l'aider tête li, en anglais nous dit moun nan helpless. helpless, takou ou pa ka ede tèt ou. Ou pa ka ede tèt ou, okay? So for hopeless, we say désespéré. Désespéré also means desperate. Okay, there's no hope. Hope is espoir. Okay, so we can say désespéré. We can say sans espoir. We can say sans espoir. Sans means without. Okay, it also means blood, but it means without in this case. Okay, sans espoir. Um, so hopeless is désespéré, sans espoir, or you can say sans espoir. So, like we said in the previous slide, for desperate, you can say désespéré. Désespéré. It's like you don't wish anymore, right? Because espérer is to wish. So, pour désespérer, nous dit desperate. Okay, desperate. Confused. Okay, so for confused, we say bouleversé or bouillé. Bouleversé is like everything inside of you is moving, it's out of place. For bouillé, it's like your mind is foggy, right? You're confused. So, si sa tête nous bouillé, ou bien nous bouleversé, nous dit confused, confused. So for disoriented, you can say désorienté, désorienté. It's like you're not yourself, right? You if you're disoriented, sometimes you don't even know where you are. Okay, we say désorienté. You can say troublé. The person is troubled. Some people can use égaré. Égaré is not a good word. Égaré is never a good word. And it's definitely not in this case, only because égaré, it sort of means dumb. Like if someone say, "Oh, égaré trop," like you're too dumb. So I wouldn't encourage that word, but you could still hear people use it. Okay. Takou lè ou moun sentil désorienté, gen des fois moun nan pa kon kote liye. Ou gen do a fon route chaque jour et puis on lè ou la donne. Ou pa wè koto ye, okay? En créole nous dit moun nan désorienté, en anglais nous dit disoriented, okay? Disoriented. So for suicide prevention, I don't know if we have that in Haiti, honestly, because I'm just learning the word myself in Haitian Creole. That is, I knew it in French, and I knew it in English, but not in Creole. So suicide prevention. So prevention in Creole is prévention. Prévention. So it's kind of like prévention suicide. So you're preventing the suicide, but I don't know how many people in Haiti know the word suicide. Especially among those who are less educated. So I would just say prévention pour pas tuer tête. That's how I would say. I would say prévention, prevention not to kill oneself. That's how I would say it. Prévention pour pas tuer tête. Takou en créole, on moun kon vle tuer tête li. Kounya ou vle faire prévention. Prévention suicide en anglais, c'est suicide prevention. OK? On sort de prévention pour moun na pas tuer tête li. So a suicide hotline, it's the place that you call to get help when you have suicidal thoughts. Okay, the suicide hotline. I don't know if Haiti has that literally. I almost want to say they don't, but I don't want to say yes. Okay, only because I haven't lived in Haiti in a long time. So I would say a suicide hotline is a number to help those with thoughts of suicide. Okay, c'est un numéro pour ka aider moun qui gen ide suicide, OK? On moun qui gen ide suicide, li ka rele numéro sa pour aide, OK? En anglais, rele suicide hotline. So for suicide attempt, we can say tentative suicide. Tentative. Tentative is an attempt. You attempt something. You didn't succeed. Tentative suicide. Or you can say essai suicide. Essai is, it's like to try, okay? Essai suicide, mais the person didn't die. Or you can say essayer tirer tête. The person tried to kill themselves, okay? Si on moun ap essayer tirer tête li, en anglais nou rele sa suicide attempt parce que moun nan pat mouri li essayer mais l pat mouri, okay? So for suicide attempt, we can say tentative suicide. or we can say essaye, suicider, or we can say essayer, tiye tête. So for this one, we're saying that the mental health is just as important as the physical one, right? Because if you have a headache, you might see your doctor, right? And if you have cancer, you'll go to the doctor and you'll get treatment. So the mental health is just as important as the physical one, okay? Santé mentale la important, même jan ak santé physique. Santé mentale, that's the mental health. Important is important, okay? Même jan is like saying the same. It's the same, it's equal. Ak, you can say ak, avec, or a. They all mean with. Santé physique. Santé physique is physical. Physique is physical. Santé is health, okay? Santé mentale, important, même jan ak santé physique. The mental health is just as important as the physical health, so we don't have to be embarrassed. We don't have to be ashamed, okay? Si vous voulez dire mon santé mentale la important même jan avec santé physique la, wap di mental health is just as important as physical health, right? Paske si ou malade, ou pral kay dokter. Si ou pa wè bien nan zye, ou pral kay dokter, y a bon lunet, wap metel. Même bagay la pou santé mentale la, ok? Santé mentale, important, même jan avec santé physique, ok? Mental health is just as important as physical health. Okay, so thank you for watching. This was part one of mental health. The video was actually too long, so I had to split it in three. So this is the first video, and I hope you like it. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Merci tout le monde qui te gade video sa. M souhaite li ede nou. Ça c'est partie 1, ok? N'a gen partie 2, n'a gen 3. M'te obligé séparer vidéo, m'te diviser parce qu'elle était trop long. Ok? Si nous gen question, commentaire, fais-moi connaître. Après vidéo ça, m'a fait numéro 2. Ok.